I'm not quite sure. For one, I would say imagine that you're not putting so much value into the Androxus pick while leaving something like Talus open for the enemy team. I'm not sure whether they're aware of maybe if the enemy team is using keyboard and mouse / controllers, because I mean at this point in the tournament, if you know your enemy has a controller player, you really do have to take away that Talus. It's just it's such a detriment to let it through. I'm not saying it's a complete guaranteed win condition, but man, it just makes such a difference.
This is finally the comeuppance from all those PCL players in 2018 when I was casting for the first, or 2019 when I was casting for the first time, because back then they kept banning Talus, but every time he was picked, he would lose. And we would always say, Talus is so bad, stop banning him. Please, for the love of God, stop banning Talus. And they'd always pick him, and he'd always lose. And now finally he's good. Finally,
now we see the wrath of Talus.
After all this time, they finally figured out how to actually play him. Ash first pick, I know it's bizarre, but I still feel like she's been struggling. And with Ruckus open, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think with the Ashe, like the pressure that you push in with Ashe is amazing on this map. But as you've just stated, against a Ruckus, the Ashe can dash in as much as she wants. All that means to Ruckus is there's no one protecting the backline. And with a Caspian, there you go. A Caspian and a Ruckus pushing your backline. If that Ashe dashes in once, she has no recourse to get back and help her teammates against two characters that can very easily push in and push back out again.
He could literally just wait and delete her. Lex banned. So Lex and Talus both banned. We saw OHL do great with Caspian before, though, so I don't think they're hurting too much about this. What is their last pick? Is it just Koga? Is it Victor? Like, I'm not sure what hit scan they're going to lean on here.
Double flank is definitely not out of the question, considering that they're taking already the double off tank. So double flank is typically what we're seeing alongside of this, especially with Bazaar and Grover. We've seen this composition a few times now, and it's worked out impeccably well each and every time as well. They take the Androxus again, so they have the Andro and the Maeve. They've gone for a Victor. This is interesting to see them take a backline character, because their draft composition is all about pushing in aggressively here. And they're playing against two characters that I don't think Victor does that well into, the Maeve and the Andro. I mean, he can do well into them, but it all really depends upon who's playing better. And I think it's a little bit easier to flank a Victor with a Maeve and an Andro than it is to fight the Andro and Maeve as the Victor.
I feel like the Maeve will struggle. I feel like every time I see the Victor-Maeve matchup, specifically when it's controller Victor, I think the Maeves tend to get torn apart. And it's a wide map. It's a big map. It's open. There's ways they can sneak up, but like if you get spotted early, Victor can put a lot of distance between you and them. So I think that could play into Only Chill's favor here. I also love the tank lineup that they have. I want to lean their direction, mostly because of that Ashe first pick. I mean, this is the map where it would get value, but I've seen Leighton get pressured pretty hard on it before.
I would definitely go towards Only Chill's draft as well in this. If I was going to pick one that I would want to be on the team, I would definitely be choosing Only Chill here. That primarily centers around the Ruckus and Caspian picks, though, to be honest with you. But it'd be interesting now to see how they play it. I think you are correct, though, with the Maeve. Oh, Street Justice Maeve. This makes a lot more sense now. Having that insta-kill, the 30% threshold to just take out both the Ruckus and the Azan actually makes a lot of sense. And they're already going for the resilience as well, which is what you really want to be taking early to start counteracting this Caspian pick.
Yeah, we see a lot of, I think, stacking on items from them against that pick here. We'll see how it pays off for them here. Vallejo is playing very slow to start. Again, poking, can't really get too aggressive. Look how slow only Caspian is standing and poking from the backline, just not wanting to move quite yet. Once they get healed, they'll go, but Dropey just deleted, disappears because of that Street Justice and Tarek. Now, exactly in that threshold again, Vallejo really wants to get this kill and will get the fadeaway daggers on Tarek as he tries to leave. Still Smart disengaging early, but they didn't have a point tank, and Invocal planted his feet down from the beginning.
That was an absolutely beautiful shot there from Maeve to finish off the Azan across the distance there. This was quite an interesting round, because at the start we seen Maeve get poked out near instantly to literally 1 HP, but then healed up just enough to actually take out the Azan. So that really could have swung either way on the back end of whether the Maeve lived or died there. Ruckus trying to be a bit aggressive here to try and take out a bit of damage. Take out, sorry, the Damber in the backline there. But again, already within threshold of this Maeve damage. So it's kind of interesting with Street Justice Maeve, right? It's one of these characters that Maeve comes in and out of the meta.
Dives, right? Using it just to, they think they can get away with more than they can, and they're going to change how they play later, but that dislodging or that discomfort from having to change how they play is probably just enough to get a big advantage here. But you can see back in game, no one else was even close to actually help that Ruckus. Must have been a pretty solidly staggered kill.
I mean, he probably just thought it was guaranteed that he was going to get the healer, and once you got the healer, you know, it's such a benefit for the team. I think as well with the Street Justice Maeve, was quite interesting about it as well is you think of it as being this tank destroyer, but even with characters like Caspian, when he pushes in, you know, it catches you off guard sometimes that this character is still going to be able to just, with just a slight bit of damage from help from your team, that they can still get absolutely burst out.
Yeah, you can get just deleted quickly if you're not paying enough attention. Look at this. Speaking of not paying attention, Bones caught completely unawares, but the flank from Dropey using the dash just to cut through those windows now. Leighton running away. We could see an assert dominance here. Nick does come out. It stuns the Grover, gets them the kill, but they're down their healer as well. Bones has to roll back out, but they're willing to spend these ultimates to flip this fight now. Only Chill having to disengage, having to go back to the cart. You can see Dropey even using the movement to get back, and suddenly, even after a really good initial foothold that they got, they're right back in it with Invocal putting pressure onto the front line.
A good time for them to use their ultimates as well. They still have a minute on the clock, which is tantamount to be at the time that you're comfortable to use an ultimate, knowing that you should be roughly there and abouts having it back for the next point fight. Damn, the Maeve tries to come in to get that dash onto the Ruckus as he's ulting to try and take him out of this high ground position, but he wasn't quite low enough, and it ends up being the detriment to the Maeve, who dies, giving Only Chill a great opportunity here to push them out. And it's not looking good for Unfair for getting another retouch and another retake here. And that means as well, because they have fallen, these ults are not going to be coming back online if they don't get another retouch here.
Lots of ults spent just to try to trade out into each other. You saw Hexafire countering the Dread Serpent. You saw it kind of countering the Maeve, trying to get aggressive here. And Pixels might be able to get a chase here, but the stun stops him right before getting that kill. I mean, with these respawns, I don't think there's any chance for Unfair here. Honestly, I would just leave and not give them ult charge, but Invocal, they don't see a way out here. Both tanks are going to fall. Give them that little bit more, and Bones wants to trade something back, but just cannot. That CC they have online, you really want to see some of this resilience coming up for Unfair. They're gonna need it.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Caspian stun is just way too easily confirmable. Once you have 5 stacks in both of your sword and your gun, the stun is so fast. It's such an easily confirmable ability. But we do see a lot of these resiliences coming through now. Everyone on the team does have resilience level 2, except for Androxus, who's opted instead to go for Master Riding level 2. Not too confident in that personally. I would have gone for the resilience, especially with the Androxus, as we've seen last round, falling a lot to the cripple from the Grover. I think that resilience could have made quite the difference for him, but we'll see how it plays out in this next mid-fight.
Yeah, we'll see where he decides to go. I assume he wants to match up specifically into that Ruckus because of that buy of Wrecker, and you can already see him looking in that direction, but it's Maeve fighting him over there. Now the Barrage coming in, trying to find someone. It does get some damage onto the Ashe, and now Andro forces to disengage on point. Whirlwind guaranteeing a kill, but now it's a 3 versus 3. Support, DPS, and tank all alive. Basically a new game mode here, but Dropey, the one caught out on point, uses the knockup to slow down Avaleo, but they want to push here. Dread Serpent could be the setup that they need with Narco caught here. Street Justice gets the kill onto the DPS, and Avaleo will be able to get away. Midnight now lets them get a little more aggressive. Cosmic trying to run away, but found by Leighton here is 90% and climbing on the point. Dropey will get the overtime, but they are down players, including one of their tankiest ones. Tarek gets one, gets traded back right away, and Unfair will guarantee their next fight here off of some just a better 3v3. When the fight broke down, they just positioned better.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate for Only Chillers there as well, and the Maeve got very low on that mid-fight, but the Azan just walked backwards into the already present and then ultimate from Maldamba, fearing him, allowing the Maeve just that little bit of safety to get out as well. She's pushing in quite aggressive here, trying to get a pick, and pushing in aggressive into a Caspian. Not normally the best thing to do, as we said, it's done so easy to get. He's got so much damage, and now the Ruckus pushing in aggressively, trying to Trying to get a couple picks here, but the heals from the dam are not looking good for him.
They get knocked so low. Cosmic will pick up both of them there, but they get Whirlwind out. I mean, it's getting to the point where you want to just throw it out when you think it's going to be good. You just got to start just using Whirlwind whenever you think it'll be even okay. But they do recover.
For sure. Once those cauterizes start stacking up a little bit more, the Whirlwind really does start to feel more like an extra ability for the Grover than it does feel like an ultimate anymore.
Oh yeah, for sure. It just feels like almost a bit of a throwaway here, but we'll see how much they get to find use of it later, already halfway to the next one. But with the way that they're split right now, the positioning is good. It will deny value from that, but it will also force Unfair to rethink how they are playing and how they are positioned here. Walking up on the right side, Leighton is zoning out Nardco, forced completely out of the fight. Anyone up front will be isolated, but it's no one. It's just Ruckus on a very deep flank, and now Leighton is the one who might be stuck out in no man's land.
It's Ash trying to push into the Victor here, but our team Only Children a fantastic job of recognizing when the Victor has to retreat and actually putting a tank in its place. I mean, the Ash is already half HP when the Victor decides to retreat, so once that Azan goes in, the fight really swings massively into his favor. Oh my lord, and you see that long range stun, you see how fast that stun projectile becomes once you have those stacks online. It's so easy to hit such an ability, but again, because of those resiliences, you've seen how fast the Barrack negated that, and it really didn't make much of a difference in the end. Although they still picked up the kill, we're going to see a lot as we push later into the game, but this really isn't going to have the same impact in these 3-3 fights if the game reaches that position.
Yeah, for sure. Not going to have that same impact. You still want it all the same in case you can even have a chance to use it here. A lot of ults will be on the table. I don't expect to see these teams spending anything. I'm even surprised Leighton's committing at this point, honestly. They're only halfway pushed. They get the touch. If they lose Pixel for that attempt here, they're giving them a chance to just charge up the ult that they know they don't have.
Oh, no.
But it could also maybe go a little further than I was initially anticipating. Ruckus is trying to run away. He will get away, but Grover stuck out.
That Maeve was literally one shot. The Azan had to push in to try and confirm that, but unfortunately through pushing, he put himself within that 30% threshold, and the Maeve dagger dash was just a little bit quicker than his hammer was. This is not looking good for them here now. Okay, the Ruckus manages to get back into base. I was kind of worried he'd push out a little bit too far there into the dash from the Maeve and get picked up. He is pushing up behind them. Only Shield do manage to defend this now as well. Another shot coming out from Cosmic, but doesn't connect. And both teams looking very stable here with pretty much every ult available, minus 20% charge on the Grover.
Yeah, this is just going to be this is a straight up skill matchup. There's no resources that one team really has over the other. We're just going to see who uses their abilities a little bit better. This is something that I feel like Unfair have been good about on this map in particular. We saw Pixel playing BK on this map and really knowing how to use that King Bomb. Now with Resilience a little bit more online for some of the members of this team, Cosmic will have a little bit more trouble farming some of these tanks.
Oh, for
some
sure.
of these squishies
I'm thinking
as well.
He's going to be trying to look more for opportunity to push in with ultimate now than he is trying to look in for pushing into to just use his stun. So now it's becoming a bit more of a, can he get more than one or two with the ult? Oh, and the Ash falls already to Cosmic. This is not looking good for them. Barrack as well, very lit here. That's going to be 2 kills picked up by the Victor, and they get the third now onto the Androxus, and they can. A triple kill now from Nardco on the Victor, and this is not looking good for Unfair on the retake, although they do still have some quite nice ultimates available if they do get the opportunity to get close enough.
They have some of the best ults for retake too. I mean, Assert Dominance and Midnight are fantastic for it, and you can see one already spent, and Vocal may able to sneak right into point because of the blindfold pulled over the eyes of everybody else. Tarek so low and shooting into that reverse soul. Is he low enough to get Street Justice? No, he actually kites away, but Avaleo chases so deep he can find that last kill. It is a 1-for-1 though. Cosmic now also forced out both Tropy and Cosmic pincered in this corner, but no one's able to push. Everyone on that team has all disengaged to run away. And they just have to reset and push back in, but it's going to be a tough retake. Still no ultimates on either side. It's going to be a dry death match here, but no one's watching top right. Ruckus goes in all the way, and this flank could be the deciding factor in this fight.
Cosmic pushed straight through the middle as well. They're a bit of a risky positioning for him to take. Unfortunately, the Ruckus does fall, but that is going to be traded out for Invocal. Oh, one missed set of daggers from Avaleo there does mean he loses the trade off to the Victor, and now it's up to the Androxus here to pick it up. But once again, that trade off from the Victor and the Maeve coming to fight them heavy. Can he do anything impactful though? No, he is going to fall to the tank. A big fear coming out onto the Ruckus. He's trying to stay alive as best as he can, but it's not looking good considering how many members of Unfair are left on the team. And as overtime ticks down, a dismount onto the Caspian is going to be good. A nice little double kill for the Maeve, and that is going to be 3 points now for the side of Unfair, and 1 push away from converting to their first point of the set.
That was a phenomenal stun, actually, on Caspian. Maybe would have worked to cap it, but they stopped him right before he could go in here. But now Azan just walking into the team relatively uncontested, forced to lock himself in his cave over here to try to find the kill on Bones, but not going to be able to get it. A certain dominance used to deny the chance to focus fire Leighton down and to try to save Bones. They can still stabilize, but Pixel went a little bit ahead on his own, got picked off, and now Unfair only chill in a 4 versus 4 stalemate.
Grover used just to kind of stabilize here because they're not looking too healthy as Unfair pushes in. It's looking very heavily in their favor. Oh, and it's not quite good enough. The Maeve blind, just for that momentarily period, is good enough to take down Tarek and Cosmic. Narco does trade one back out onto the Victor. Sorry, onto the Androxus, but it's still not looking great for them with... Oh, the ultimate from Azan to dodge the dash from the Maeve. That was fantastic. He's alive for just a little bit longer, but does it matter? No, it doesn't. Oh, it's going in. I think it was going... Oh my god, the Ruckus just alive. Oh my god.
It's so close. It's all down to Androxus. Can we see the Andro value? Not this time with the Grover picking up 3. Imagine cheating in Cosmic. They hold their ground. All they had to spend for it was an Azan ult as well to survive 1 cooldown. Excellently done there from Only Chill to somehow hold on and keep this game going.
That Ruckus touch was literally the most clutch thing I think we've seen this tournament now at this point, to be honest with you. That Azam was not touching. He was already dead. The dash was no good. And just in the nick of time, the Ruckus manages to swing out of spawn and contest that point. An amazing triple kill from the Grover to stabilize it as well. 30 seconds left on the clock. Only Chill with 2 ults available. Unfair with just the 1. I don't think they're going to try and spend that Damper ult to try and push this in. It would be a very risky play going into the 3-3 with 0 ults available, knowing that Only Chill have more already locked and loaded, ready for the final contestation.
They do have some really good ults, though. They could absolutely spend it if they want to, but with the way they're getting pressured right now, there's absolutely no chance. They are so low. Damba can't heal them all up, and Whirlwind popped on the other side, so they know they don't have the heals, and Vocal falling as well. Not a thing will be spent here from Unfair. They want to go into this fight as uneven as possible, because they know that Barrage and Whirlwind both just effectively went to the wayside to deny that push.
Onichil actually had to use the Victor ult there as well, just to keep them pushed out, just to keep them low enough to make sure that this was going to a 3-3. And I'm not too happy with the fact that they've actually had to give up another ult just to stay alive in the game right now. I mean, of course they kind of had to, but having just a Caspian and a Ruckus ult available, both of them are just huge damage abilities, you know. They don't have any utility to back them up in this. Nothing to stun, nothing to blind. Whereas on the side of Unfair, they have a little bit more utility based ultimates that could swing things more in their favor.
I mean, there's really no utility. They don't have any utility at all. Even if they had 5 ultimates, the utility is just Azan surviving. Like there's almost no utility for them anyway. All that utility is coming out of Unfair's ults here, and no one's dismounting Ashe. Ashe is so deep. Ashe is walking. Grover's mounting back to spawn right now with how forward Leighton is right now and looking to stand below these beams to get an ult set up, but Azan gets feared, can't answer it at all, and the positioning is so good. They're getting capped this whole time too.
Already on 50% capture here. Ruckus getting a good angle on the Maeve. This could be the death of the Maeve here, but fantastic peel from the Ashe here, just as the Maeve was falling low enough to be in trouble. The Ashe comes through to save the day. Caspian is very low here, hasn't even had the opportunity to use his ult well enough. I don't know if he's actually spent that ult now. Maybe he just used it while he was blind, just in the hopes to maybe pick up a kill. Droppy using his ult here on the Azan just to get an overtime, but he's very low on this point, already looking to full, and Droxus gets 1 tap on him. The other tap is not coming through. Yeah, he's still alive!
There's no way that he's... No way he hangs on that long. I mean, there's a dome shield in front now, and now it is a lockdown. Caspian, the last one standing, not going to be able to touch. Only Chill defends successfully. Just kidding. Unfair win game number 2. we're going to game 3 for loser semis to pick who gets to go. So play. They're fighting for the
final. Sorry,
the chance to play NA's finest.
That was a fantastic final fight from them. Honestly, the aggression to force out the team, the positioning from the Ashe that led to the easy execute kill from the Maeve, and the beauty of that positioning from the Ashe was, if you noticed as to where she was positioning on the stairs, as soon as she got low enough that she could have been in trouble from anywhere, she had the ult available. Like at all times in that position, she was safe. And then again, the peel, as soon as the Maeve got low, the Ashe just dashed straight in, forced the Ruckus out. Amazing. I'm fairly confident the Caspian had to ult. Whilst he was blind there, just in the hopes of picking up a kill, maybe to just maybe hit the Maeve while he was blind.
I think the blind is so little time anyway. I think he ulted. I think he was gonna ult anyway. It just happened to happen at the same time. He's like, well, I'm only gonna be blind for like a second and a half because I have Brazil 3.
Yeah,
but he couldn't. He just couldn't find anything with it. I mean, at that point in the game, they had nothing to really support them. His tanks were, I think, both respawning. It was tough. Well, we can look at the stats and see how things shook out numbers-wise from that game. Honestly, close your eyes and show me this. I think only Chill won.
If you're looking at the stats alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers on the Maeve, though, they're not high on damage numbers, but the kill confirms with 20 kills. I guess that does match out towards the Victor. But if you're looking at like statistics from Victor, for example, 141,000